Programming notes. We mentioned this in our Canadiens, Kairu, and Red Wings Chronic video, but just in case you didn't see those, I'll repeat it here once more because it's a pretty good and interesting time for hockey fans. Right now, at the time of this video's publication, there may be some Olympic hockey going on. USA-Latvia is set to starting at 21:10 in Milano Cortina, which means that it will probably be at 1 p.m.-ish. Maybe there's a women's game going on, I'm not too sure. But essentially, what I'm trying to say is that there's so much Olympic hockey going on that conflicts with the projected release date of these YouTube videos that it's hard to continuously make videos about the Olympics pre-recorded because I record the videos that we make on the channel a day in advance. So I'll try to get up early, try to make videos about those games, and we can have conversations about them and the activities in these contests when they happen. But for now, we're talking about some guys that are not at the Olympics, and whom it is the Vancouver Canucks could decide to trade. We are talking about two wingers on this team that could be on the move, and two guys that I don't think anybody personally wants to see removed, but professionally, we can probably say this is the right deal. So we're talking about Jake DeBrusk, we're talking about Brock Boeser. Again, two guys that I think Vancouver fans generally like as human beings, as guys. Brock Boeser recently got engaged. That's awesome. We have seen Brock's story ever since he was drafted by Vancouver in 2015. What a warrior, what an emotional, heartfelt person this guy is, and what a cool Vancouverite in the blood he has become. Meanwhile, Jake DeBrusk, he likes Pokemon cards, and that automatically makes him cool in this city. I am not even joking about that, by the way. So, with all that said, today we are diving into this article posted by Harmondale and Thomas Strands on The Athletic 2 days ago. Canucks trade targets, 9 teams with incentive to buy, and future assets to spare. This piece will be linked in the description. It's on The Athletic. It's paywalled content. You need The Athletic to read it. We're not going to read it here. Instead, we're going over onto NHLTradeRumors.me because Dave Littman used some of the information on The Athletic piece to create this article, which is, of course, not behind a paywall. Both pieces will be linked in the description, but Littman's NHL Trade Rumors article goes over how the Utah Mammoth have been linked to 2 Vancouver Canucks trade candidates. Take a wild guess as to which ones we're talking about. The Utah Mammoth are expected to be aggressive at the trade deadline. They're lurking in the weeds, waiting to pounce. The team holds the first wildcard spot in the West, but ownership wants more. There's no doubt they will be buyers by March 6th. The Mammoth could use an additional difference maker for their top 9. According to Thomas Strands and Harmondale in The Athletic. Over the past month or so, Utah has been utilizing both Kailer Yamamoto and Michael Carcone in key top 9 spots in their lineup. Through that lens, adding a young veteran winger with a history of elevating their game in the postseason, think Jake DeBrusk or Brock Boeser, could punch up Utah's offensive attack significantly. Now, I love the way it is that they actually wrote about these guys. A young veteran winger. So, not a young winger like, oh, he's 21 years old, he's just brand new in the league. Nah, a young veteran winger. You know how we mentioned Brock Boeser was drafted in 2015? Well, guess what? Jake DeBrusk was too. DeBrusk is 29, October 1996. Brock Boeser is 28, February 1997. He'll be 29 in just a few days here. But both of these guys are young-ish. 29 is not like old. They should be kind of fading out of their primes, if you wanted to say that. And I would assume, production-wise, you're kind of getting that out of these players. Jake DeBrusk had 50 points in 64 games in 2023, and Brock Boeser had a 40-goal season and 70 points in 2024. Also, you talk about playoff production, Jake DeBrusk was a consistent playoff performer for the Boston Bruins. Just look at all the numbers he was able to accrue throughout these seasons here. In the National Hockey League, DeBrusk has 47 points in 86 total playoff games, 0.55 points per game, and he never was a top-line guy. The fact that in 2024, DeBrusk still had 11 points in 13 games, despite being a half a point a game guy in the regular season, just shows how this guy is able to come alive when the games matter the most. Brock Boeser, you can say the exact same thing. He had 11 points in 17 games in the bubble, and 12 points in 12 games in the regular playoffs in 2024, including a dagger of a hat trick against Nashville. Brock is on pace for 38 points this season in 75 games. Jake DeBrusk was scratched for 1, but he's on pace for 41 points nonetheless. Both of these guys would be pretty meaningful additions to any team's middle to bottom 6. I'm not going to say top 6, let's just say middle 6, heck, not even bottom 6, just middle 6. And a team like Utah, who is using Michael Carcone and Kailer Yamamoto in that spot, could probably use to upgrade. Brock Boeser, 7.25 mil to the end of 2032. Jake DeBrusk, 5.5 mil to the end of 2032. DeBrusk is a lot more valuable in terms of the contract because the production is roughly the same, the contract's significantly cheaper, and DeBrusk also has a level of versatility that I think Brock does not really have at this stage of his career. Versatility as in like mobility, how they move around the ice and how agile they are. In terms of positions, well, Brock is purely right. Jake is generally purely left, but it doesn't really matter when you're taking a look at some of the guys that they would be replacing, right? I mean, you take a look at Michael Carcone, for example. I mean, yeah, no disrespect to Michael Carcone, but the fact that he was a former Vancouver Canuck, I think, gives us the right to talk smack about him. He's got 21 points in 55 games, which is actually a lot more than I expected, to be honest. I mean, he was a consistent Utica Comet for Vancouver for so long. Nowadays, he's on pace for 31 points. Boeser or DeBrusk would technically be an upgrade. You could also talk about Yamamoto, but honestly, the fact that Yamamoto is still finding himself a way to be an NHL player despite starting the season out in the A, I think is just so cool. I mean, he had himself 56 points in 54 games last year in Tucson. Now he has been in and out of the lineup. He's got 35 games played this season, but hey, he's got half a point a game in that stint. So obviously Yamamoto was doing something right. But he's 5'9", 179. These other Canucks players are a little bit bigger than that. There certainly can be an upgrade for what Utah is looking for. And also, I'm thinking about it like this. If the Utah Mammoth have a Boeser or a DeBrusk on their team, there isn't really that same level of expectation that Vancouver fans have with these players. They're not looking at Boeser and DeBrusk and saying, hey, we need top 6 scorers. Why are you guys not producing like top 6 scorers? Instead, Utah has so many top 6 scorers that it seems kind of overwhelming just how deep they are on the wings. Keller, Schmaltz, Genther, Peterka, I mean, these guys are all doing very well. Lawson Krause is over here, Logan Cooley. And then you get into Michael Carcone, Yamamoto, Jack McBain. There is room for other players to step into Utah and not have all the weight of the world on their shoulders. Jake DeBrusk or Brock Boeser heading over to I'm going to admit it, it's a market that's not as crazy about hockey as Vancouver is. One, it could ease the pressure off of them a little bit, and secondly, it could give them just kind of better matchups, and also maybe a better chance to actually do some damage in the postseason where they both have proven track records. I like what it is that Dale and Drance are writing about here, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as well. Do you agree with this idea that Jake DeBrusk or Brock Boeser could be a prime Utah Mammoth trade target? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. What kind of assets from the Mammoth would you want if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan? I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.